Welcome back to the Accountability Hour, the podcast where we tackle double standards, self-improvement, and the messy realities of relationships. This is Lynn Watchhorn. Why are some men happier single? The sad reality is a lot of men are wanting to be single these days. They don't even consider dating. They don't even try. They deleted the dating apps. They're not going out. They're not approaching anymore. And it's really, truly unfortunate because relationships can bring so much value to our lives. It just goes to show how bad things have gotten that men have just completely stopped dating. How can you blame them? When you talk to men and they're vulnerable with you, a lot of men have the same experiences with women that made them want to stop dating. A lot of men have showed their emotional side to a woman, and he exerted all the effort he possibly could to make the relationship work, but it didn't work out. In a lot of cases, he becomes emotional in front of the woman he's with. She loses respect for him or starts treating him differently as a result. Or sometimes he ends up having to comfort her afterwards because she's upset with what his feelings were, rather than the other way around where he's getting some comfort for something that she did. And it seems like in a lot of situations, men feel like they bring up problems they're having, and what ends up happening is everything in the relationship gets worse as a result. So that encourages them to go silent. A lot of men prove their commitment to a woman because a lot of women will talk about how they want a man that wants a long-term relationship. She wants commitment. So he shows that, he displays that, and she runs away. Because unfortunately, a lot of things that women say they want out of a relationship isn't truly accurate, because they reward the exact opposite behaviors. All these weird mind games, these comparisons out there are all too common among women. These women will play hard to get, and I mean, that's not attractive to a man. It's not fun. It's stressful. It's overwhelming. It's confusing. Or sometimes a man will get friend zoned only to find out he was never what she's looking for in the first place. But she enjoyed the validation she was getting from him, the gifts, the money he spent on her. She enjoyed all of the benefits. And almost every man I've ever talked to has experienced this at least once or twice. And a lot of women don't sit down to think how expensive and exhausting that can be, putting in so much effort for what, nothing? He could have invested that money. He could have went out with friends and bought his friends a meal, knowing full well that his friends like him and enjoy being around him. In general, he could have used that money for a better purpose, but he used it on you only to find out you never even were interested. And that's what we're told, that our presence brings so much value, but it doesn't. And then we have a group of women that don't want a committed relationship. Instead, they want to continue exploring their options. They might meet a really great guy that checks off all the boxes, and they're like, okay, I want to check out my other options. So they friend zone him, and then she realizes she can't find better, but she expects that man to be just waiting on her, which creates a lose-lose situation for the man in the picture, because if he doesn't walk away, she'll lose respect for him. But if he does wait, she's less likely to, take him out of the friend zone and start dating him long term. Instead, she takes him for granted and assumes he'll always be there in the background where he can kind of be that backup plan. And what man wants to be that backup plan? Also, men don't want to date because women don't initiate, they don't pursue in any way. And these women are absolutely terrified of making the first move. They want the man to do it. He also can't read your mind. I see so many videos on TikTok of women complaining that men that they're not interested in, that they're not attracted to, are the ones approaching them. But if you're waiting around to be approached, you're not going to be able to pick and choose who's approaching necessarily, unless you're taking action on that. And even a woman that doesn't want to be like super bold about how she approaches and wants to be kind of more subtle, there's ways of doing that. I mean, growing up, I would see movies and TV shows where a woman would see a guy that she found attractive and she would like write her phone number on an envelope or a receipt or napkin or whatever she had on hand, and she just walk up and hand it to him and just walk away. So there's subtle ways of, making the first move without being super bold and going up to him and talking to him, it's an easy way because he could just reject you by not ever messaging you or calling you. But a lot of women just don't want to do that. And then, of course, men are also told not to approach women. There are thousands of videos of women saying that they don't want to be approached. They don't want to be approached in public, at the store, at the gym. They don't feel comfortable. They don't feel safe. It's annoying. It's a burden. And all these good men have heard that loud and clear. They want to show respect towards all of these women by listening and not approaching, which, makes dating even harder because dating apps are a joke. A lot of men will swipe hundreds, if not thousands of times to maybe get 1 or 2 matches. A lot of the women on dating sites are bots, or they're trying to promote their OF. And one thing I really hate about dating apps is it encourages people to only focus on superficial qualities. How tall he is, where he works, what he looks like. A lot of women don't realize that just by looking at a couple of these superficial qualities or filtering out certain aspects, they're ruling out so many great men for them. And overall, this is a huge headache for men, hardly getting any matches, and then he might get a couple, but she ends up ghosting him or something. And we all know you need to go on quite a few dates to, potentially get a girlfriend or a boyfriend. And then a lot of women talk about wanting a man who has leadership, who's decisive, who can make those moves. But at the same time, she won't feel comfortable if it's not the right man, the man she's actually attracted to. So again, it makes things harder for men in that case, because he can't read minds. He doesn't know if he's that type of guy that she's looking for. It's kind of like those memes you see where, if she finds him attractive, it's okay, but if she doesn't, she's calling HR at work. I think a lot of women, we need to realize this, that we are treating different types of men differently based purely on their appearance or purely on the status they have. And if we started treating all men kind of the same way and started being respectful and open-minded, we would not only find somebody else, but we'd also encourage more men to start approaching again. But I don't see that happening anytime soon, unfortunately, and that's why a lot of men just don't want to date anymore. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might benefit from it, and always, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and let me know your thoughts.